We are now on the first Sunday of Lent. And Lent is a time for us to renew our lives and draw closer to God. But what drives us away from God? What pulls us away from God is sin. But before we fall into sin, we are first faced with temptations. And the gospel reading tells us that temptation is something that we can never avoid. We cannot escape temptation. Jesus himself, the Son of God, was tempted. And at the end of the gospel, Saint Luke noted that the devil departed from Jesus for a time, for a time being, temporarily, meaning the devil continues to look for an opportunity to tempt him. Jesus, however, in the gospel also shows us that like him, we can overcome temptations. As Filipinos, we face many challenges: poverty, lack of job opportunities, the temptation to earn easy money, and personal battles with vices, anger, or pride. As soldiers, we know the value of discipline, but we are also aware of the temptations that come with power, corruption, and personal weakness. And so, how can we resist? How can we overcome temptations? Let us look into three practical ways following the example of Jesus in the gospel. How can we resist and overcome temptation? There are three things that I would like to point out. First, like Jesus, we can resist and overcome temptation if we strengthen our spiritual life. When Jesus was tempted, he prayed, he relied on the Word of God to resist the devil. We must remember, however, that Jesus did not pray only when he was in trouble, but prayer was his way of life. Jesus constantly sought the Father in everything he did. In the same way, we should not pray only when we face struggles. We should also make prayer as our way of life. And maybe some of us would say, I could not pray daily because I have no time. I am too busy. I am too tired. But try to think about this. If we have time for our phones, social media, and to go out with friends, there should not be no reason for us to have no time for God. Our commanding general of the Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido, reminds us of the same message, the same truth, when he espoused that the letter A of the word army should stand for always pray. This is a powerful reminder that prayer should not just be an occasional act, but a daily discipline. As soldiers, we are trained to be physically strong, but true strength comes from spiritual resilience. When we make prayer a habit, not just a reaction to problem, we build a strong foundation that can withstand any challenge, whether in battle, in leadership, or in personal struggles. Second, we can resist and overcome temptation by practicing self-control and always choosing what is right. One of the devil's temptation to Jesus was to turn stone into bread, representing the temptation of comfort and easy solution. In our daily lives, these temptations appear in many forms. A student who cheats just to pass the exam employees who neglect their work but still expect high salaries, public officials who accept bribes to speed up processes, or citizens who offer bribes to save himself from trouble or to get ahead of others, fall into this trap. Taking shortcuts is easy, but it is not always right. Let us discipline ourselves. Let us fast not only from food, but also from vices, from bad habits. Avoid watching inappropriate content, avoid gossip, and control our temper. And lastly, we can overcome temptation if we choose the right people surround ourselves with and serve others. Jesus did not walk alone in his mission. He had disciples by his side. Likewise, people around us play a significant role in our spiritual journey. If our friends influence us with vices and negative habits, we will likely be pulled down. So, let us choose our companions wisely. Stay close to good people. Join faith-based communities and build friendship that bring us closer to God. As soldiers and as Filipinos, temptation will always be part of our journey. But we are not alone in this battle. Through prayer, discipline, and choosing the right people, we can overcome any temptation that comes our way. This Lent, let us make our sacrifices more personal, reduce our vices, avoid vices, increase our prayer, choose what is right, and serve others. In doing so, we truly follow the example of Jesus and draw closer to God.